Hello again, everyone. Stavros here, looking to analyze my favorite deck, Black Green Pox. I thought I'd try something different today and have a kind of a look back into the last 10 leagues since I finished 10 leagues online and kind of have a look at my MTGO tracker, look at the matchups, and see how the deck can be improved. I think it's long overdue an overhaul because it's basically the deck that I play in paper and it's kind of maybe more tuned to the paper meta at my local. So let's go straight into it. So this is just my basic tracker. It should be pretty self-explanatory. On the left-hand side, you can see I have a number of leagues played. I have the 10 leagues played. I have the archetypes, the matchups, and then whether I won the game or lost it. The archetype is actually read through the lookup table back here. And I've done some categorization there. I know it's probably not ideal. I've made some kind of choices. For example, I've put Death and Taxes as a prison deck, which some people might not agree with. It might be categorized as aggro, but I think it doesn't play that way. Also, I've put Blood Moon Stoppy as a prison. These are just all the ones that I've played. So if we go back to the tracker, you can kind of see each matchup I played. 1 is a win, 0 is a loss. And for example, here I lost to Turbo Depths 2-0. And that's kind of the score at the end, and it kind of says if it's a win or a loss here, and then I tally it all up. I guess overall, the deck is performing okay. You can see my game 1, game 2, and game 3 win percentages, 40, 45, 41. My overall game win percentage is 42%, and my overall match win percentage is 38%. So we're kind of hovering at the 40% mark, which is roughly where I thought it would honestly be when I started this. I thought it would be between 35 and 35 and 45, somewhere there. I guess the most interesting part of all of this is actually the percentages of matches we're playing against each different archetype. And this is based on my categorization, which again, it might be a bit different from what other people would do. Maybe some people would say Stoneblade is mid-range, or maybe even Rug Delver at this point is mid-range because it's. I mean, there are versions of Rug Delver that are playing many Okos and maybe Uro now, so maybe Rug Delver has become mid-range. Maybe it's not even running Delver at this point. Who knows? So yeah, I think the most interesting thing to focus on is probably this here little box, which kind of says what archetype I've played against, the percentage of matches I've played against it, and how many I have won. So here we kind of see mid-range. I've played 3 matches in total against it, which are 6% of all the matches I've played out of the 50, because this should add up to 50. That's correct. And then I haven't won any, but basically it's against 4C, Loam, and Pokemoki, which I haven't won any. I don't think it's really representative of my win percentage because I've won quite a few games against them. So I don't think this is really doesn't have enough data points. I guess the whole caveat about this whole thing is none of this has enough data points. But it's kind of interesting to look at it. Against Prison, it's mainly Death and Taxes and Blood Moon Stop. I've only won 1 match against it, so definitely Death and Taxes is a bad matchup. And against aggro, I've played 28% of my matchups against aggro, and I've won 10 of them, which I think is pretty good. I think the deck is doing what it's supposed to do. Aggro here is categorized as Rug Delver, Blue Red Delver, Grixis Delver, Ninjas, Infect. So I think I'm doing what I'm supposed to do there, and winning quite a bit, which is what Pox is made to do. Especially, I guess if I was running more 1-drops, I think it would, and more like Fatal Push and Innocent Blood, I think it would be even more pronounced. But I think it's getting the job done. Against Control, I've played 8 times, and 1-3, which is around 40%, which is kind of the win percentage of the deck overall. I don't know if I'm in favor. I think there are some of the more annoying matchups because what I've classified as control basically are just if we have a look at the lookup table is lands I've classified as control, which you could say is has a combo finish, might be a prison deck, could be a control deck, anyways. But mostly it's Snoko, Urian Snoko, and Stoneblade that I've classified as control, and Stoneblade could be mid-range, depending on your definition. Um, so yeah, I think I'm doing okayish there. I don't think I'm looking to improve that much there. The big one though is, which I think is really different to the paper meta, the local one, is combo. So I've played 30%, 36% of my matches against combo. I've only won 5, so I've only won 28%. And I think that should probably be the focus of the retooling of the deck. I should be aiming to improve my combo matchup. And there are quite a few tools, I guess, to do that. Yeah, there are quite a few tools to do that. Especially if I'm running one drops, I guess discard would be like a very good start to do well against combo. Chalice isn't bad, but it's gotten a bit worse, I think, over the past few sets, I guess, and printings of different things, especially Oko kind of uh, beats Chalice, but obviously combo decks aren't exactly running Oko. You could argue that Infect is a combo deck, and it is kind of running Oko sometimes. I think everything is running Oko at this point. Yeah, so this is all the decks I've played against, and this is the amount of times I've played. Like at the top, you can kind of see these are the big four right now, and I think these are probably the big four, yeah, in the format. Um, and I think in order to help me, like these are just my matches, the 50 matches that I've played. But I've also gone to MTG Top 8 and pulled out the top 8 from each of aggro, combo, and control, which is 74% of the meta from what I see. That's just the percentage of the meta. So I guess what I'm aiming to do here is just to understand what I think I'm okay against and what I wanna improve against. So I think in terms of what's going well, I'd say that I wouldn't be looking to improve against these decks. I think this is going well. Um, and I think at some point we get to a point where things are really, really low percentage, so I wouldn't be looking to do anything against those either. Okay, so I think those will be okay in terms of matchups. There are a bunch of things that I'm just looking to accept, which is things that I should be improving against, but I don't think I have the sideboard slots for them. I don't think there's anything in the world that can kind of save me. And I don't think my deck is equipped very well against these things. I could dedicate a lot of sideboard slots to show and tell, but it's one matchup, and I don't feel like it's something that I really want to improve on. So that kind of leaves me like with some kind of key decks that I want to improve against um, from the meta. I think it's roughly these ones, but I'm not exactly sure. Um, and on the basis of these kind of decks, like four color control, Death and Taxes, Hogak, Elves, Reanimator, Storm, Lands, Band Control, I'm gonna actually get rid of. I think it's pretty close to how it plays to four color control, although I don't recall playing against it, so maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about. That makes sense. Alurin, I don't think I've played against it. I've played quite a bit against it in paper. It wasn't that bad a matchup as long as they don't resolve Alurin. Yeah, it was kind of okay. So these are the things that I want to kind of improve against. So I came up with a bunch of ideas. This was what the deck kind of looked like before, and this is kind of the old deck, which is version 2.0. I also have version 1.0, which is what I played before. So this is the deck I played in the last 10 leagues. And here is the deck that I'm suggesting that I play in the next 10 leagues. So I think it'll be like a good little thing to do, like every 10 leagues, kind of revisit it, see where we stand. There aren't that many differences here. I guess the key things are in the sideboard definitely, which if I can kind of break out is I'm putting some graveyard hate, some actually really fast graveyard hate, which I didn't have before. I'm still keeping my Living Wish board over here, which is kind of the standard one here. I don't have any Plague Engineer or anything like that. I think these cards really work well for me. I'm putting one more Sweeper and an Anti-Enchantment. It's not really the Anti-Enchantment, it's the Sweeper really that I care more about. The Anti-Enchantment is going to come in helpful every now and then. And then I'm going for Sorcerer Spyglass. I have a Lost Legacy as kind of a general card that I wanted to play. I think it's kind of the one that I can least justify from all these things. The main thing, though, is that I'm looking to lean more into the combo. So I've included one more copy of the combo in here, one more Thespian, one more Dark Depths in the main, while also keeping my 3 Living Wishes and the combo pieces in the side. So really, I have 6 copies of each combo piece, kind of, in the main, and I'm looking kind of to go heavily more into the combo. I think just being faster and having a more consistent combo will help me against some of these combo decks. So I think, like for example, against Hogak, I think Turbo Depths is probably good against Hogak because it can just win with a 2020 quickly. I can't do that currently, but I can get a bit closer to that by actually having more combo pieces and being able to at least race a bit more. So if I can disrupt slightly and then race, like drop a chalice and then find the combo more consistently, that might help. Or get that key abrupt decay on the crab or on the altar and then just go for the combo a bit more consistently. That might help. The other thing that I've changed in the main is I've gone to 27 lands to help with my mana worries. I've still kept the 4 Mox Diamonds, which are absolutely excellent. And I've gone up 1 Bajuka Bog and taken out Castle Lochthwain, which is a bit slow, I think, against combo that I'm looking to improve against. And I've taken out, what is it called? It's Blast Zone, which again is a bit slow. It's actually a card I really like, though. It's really good. But I couldn't include it here because the whole mana base is predicated on the need that I have to have double black turn 2. And in order to do that, I feel I have to have 20 black sources in the deck. So what I'm hoping will happen with these changes really is that I'll be able to combat 4-color control slightly better by being at least able to hit the graveyard with Bajuka Bog and not go down with Oro. Find a solution. And with Lost Legacy, maybe I'll be able to hit that. It's not a matchup I'm particularly looking to improve that much. I feel like it's not even. I'm slightly not favor. I'm probably like 30-40%, but I think that's good enough for the deck. Against Hogak, Reanimator, Storm, and Lands, I'm probably looking at Leyline of the Void. I think those will provide something. It's not 100% against Storm. Lands can play around it a bit, but it delays them a bit until I can get the combo, if I can get the combo faster. So against Hogak and Reanimator, it will really help. Against Storm, it cuts off one line, it does something, and I have a lot of other ways to cut off other things, chalices and all that. So it's not definitely a matchup I'm looking to improve that much. Against lands, it will help the recurring lands, and it might even make my wastelands, like some key wastelands, work that way. And the other matchups that I was looking at are Death and Taxes and Elves, and I think this is why I included the extra Golgari Charm. I think Death and Taxes right now, it only has 2 creatures that have 2 toughness, which is Skyclave Apparition, which is probably the best creature in the deck at this point, and Stoneforge. So Golgari, a well-timed Golgari charm is actually really good. And by putting in, I think, Toxic Deluge and two Golgari charms, I'll be able to sweep two or three creatures and get a 2 or 3 for one, and then try to let my planeswalkers take over. Although with Skyclave Apparition, that's pretty hard. But I could start getting the Cabal Pit lock and all that, like that is my way to win, or just again try to go for the combo as quickly as possible, which is almost impossible, I know, against Death and Taxes, because they have so many ways to interact. And I think against elves, Golgari Charm is absolutely great. It's quick. It hits almost everything, except probably for Nettle Sentinel and maybe Reclaimer if they run it. Not everyone runs it. So I think that improves that. I think the added benefit Allurin, I mean, yeah, Golgari Charm hits Allurin, but I don't think, yeah, this is a really serious matchup to be looking at. Yeah, so I guess what we're aiming to do here, I think, and it makes sense, is to become a bit more focused, focus more on the combo, find a way to interact with Graveyard game one more with a main Bojuka Bog and 3 Living Wish to get the Bojuka Bog from the side. I now have 4 cards to be able to interact with Uros or with other graveyard base decks, which I think will help me quite a bit in the whole thing. And yeah, ley lines in the side. I think those will help me like greatly against all the graveyard decks because I seem to be losing quite a bit to them, and I think that with a combination of being able to do the combo a lot quicker by having more copies of it will make the deck more consistent and will allow me to race some of these combo decks. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what the other approach would be to this. If anyone has any ideas, post in the comments below as always. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with this for the next, at least for the next 5 leagues, and then maybe reassess in the middle and see how it goes. Excellent. And now the other thing that I wanted to go over was probably the deck land maths, which is the reason why I can't have Blast Zone actually in the deck right now. It's so this is just the number of black sources and the number of lands after 7 draws that I will get in my opening hand. So on average, and based on these formulas, if I'm drawing 7 cards and I have 20 black sources, I'm going to be getting a total of 24.7% of the time. I'm going to be getting 0 or 1 black source. So obviously, I'm not keeping something with 0 black sources. I mean, it has to be a very specific matchup. So I don't think I'm keeping that. I might keep things with 1 black source, but in reality, I'm definitely keeping 2 to 5 black sources. I think I'm forced to keep that. There aren't that many 5 black source hands. So yeah, there'll be a percentage that's unkeepable there. Like if I have 5 black sources and then I have only like I have something that's unplayable, like a Vraska and a Trinisphere, and I'm playing against a very specific deck, that won't work for me. Or if I don't have any acceleration, because these 20 black sources that I mentioned here, 4 of them are Mux Diamonds. So 4 of them are acceleration, and I'm assuming I have the land. So if I went down to 19, that would increase this to quite a bit more, and that brings down the percentage even more, like 3% down. And as you can see, 18 brings it even more down. So I guess what is the balance really? Um, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. This is kind of the crux of this deck, and this is the problem that it has, is if you're running no 1 drops, I'm not running enough acceleration. I have a hard time keeping hands with 1 black source. Now, out of this 19%, there is a chance that I'll be keeping some that I guess have one black source, but maybe have one green source, and I have a Sylvan in hand, a Chalice in hand, and a Abrupt Decay in hand, which don't need two black sources. But most of my heavy hitters and most of the deck is built around kind of the what I like to call the holy trinity of the deck, which is basically this. It's the four hymns, four smallpoxes, and four abrupt decays. Those are kind of the immovable cards that will never be changed. Well, for me at least, as long as I'm playing this deck. Some people can argue that some of them aren't that good, or that smallpox should go, to be honest. But there's a reason I'm playing this. So yeah, that's I guess that's the reason why I have to keep 20 black sources, is because that percentage is going to drop way too much, and then I won't be able to keep that many hands. And quite honestly, now it's at 75%. The thing that doesn't take into account is it doesn't take into account Orborg. It doesn't take into account drawing multiple Mox Diamonds, because those 20 black sources could be two Mox Diamonds, and then you might have another issue. Um, and it also doesn't take into account the fact that some of this 20% that I have here, this 19.88, I will be keeping because I'm eventually going to be drawing into a black source. And I have other things to cast. Sylvan, Chalice might be really good against the deck, so I just keep it because based off of that. Or, well, I don't know. I was keeping Engineer Explosives hands and all that. So this is more looking like I'd say it's around 80% keep, 85% keep, somewhere there, which isn't that bad because I mean there are other decks like that basically have so few lands. They have 14 lands or 14 mana producing lands. Uh, like Elves has 20 lands, four are Cradles, which are useless in the beginning. Two are Dryad Arbors, which you don't want in the beginning anyways, because they don't tap for mana the first turn. And then you actually have 14 lands, which means that you're kind of in this territory where you're mulliganing 14% of your hands, whatever happens, and you're probably mulliganing 6 and 7 landers, which is kind of nothing. So that I guess that's the bigger problem around not running one drops in the deck. Okay, so a bit scattered, a few scattered thoughts here. I think the focus, yeah, is going to be trying to be more combo, trying to get this combo percentage up. So that would be something good. Keep control at the same percentage, that's fine. Keep aggro at the same percentage would be good. I would love to see prison go up by beating some of these death and taxes. I am taking games off of them here and there. I think the additional sweepers will help. And mid range, honestly, it's such few matches. If I can get a match here or there, that would be good, but it's definitely not my focus. Okay, that's all for today. I think I'll catch you next time playing another league. See you next time.